Good afternoon. I'm Chris Callahan, president of University of the Pacific, and we're delighted you could join us today for a very special edition of our Leading Voices series. Today, we are honored to welcome celebrity cosmetic dentist, Dr. Bill Dorfman, back to Pacific. Dr. Dorfman is a proud 1983 graduate of our Arthur A. Degoni School of Dentistry in San Francisco. Dr. Dorfman has been practicing over 30 years in the Beverly Hills area and has had a career unparalleled to any other dentist in history. He has transformed the smiles of celebrities such as Katy Perry, Usher, Anthony Hopkins, Fergie, Hugh Jackman, Michael Strahan, Jessica Simpson, Mark Wahlberg, and Eva Longoria, just to name a few. Dr. Bill was the only dentist featured on ABC's hit show Extreme Makeover and is currently a recurring guest, co-host on the CBS Emmy Award-winning daytime talk show, The Doctors. Referred to as the Michael Jordan of dentistry, he has also appeared on numerous TV shows, including Larry King Live, Oprah, Access Hollywood, E! Extra, and Entertainment Tonight. As the founder of Discus Dental, one of the world's leading dental companies, he has helped lead the company from its inception to more than $1.3 billion in sales, primarily with award-winning tooth whitening products such as Zoom and Bright Smile. Dr. Bill has received 20 Lifetime Achievement Awards, 2 Guinness Book of World Records, is a New York Times best-selling author, and recently was the first dentist ever knighted by the Royal Order of Constantine. As a passionate philanthropist, together with singer Garth Brooks and the Crown Council of Dentists, he has helped raise more than $44 million for children's charities. Dr. Bill is also the founder of the nonprofit LEAP Foundation. LEAP is a week-long motivational leadership program taught at UCLA every summer to more than 400 students between the ages of 15 and 25. More than just a dentist, Dr. Dorfman is an author, entrepreneur, philanthropist, TV personality, health and fitness enthusiast, proud father of 3 daughters, and much, much more. Dr. Dorfman, welcome back to University of the Pacific and the Degoni School.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on your special day. So our audience knows today is Dr. Dorfman's birthday. So we're particularly delighted that you're able to take time out of your very busy schedule.
Thank you.
To start off, Dr. Dorfman, let me ask you, you credit your great successes to this never giving up attitude. And we were hoping you could talk just a little bit more about the importance of perseverance and then particularly how that might apply to our students today, especially as they are facing some highly unusual challenges here in the COVID-19 era.
You know, I mean, I said it in my intro video. I refuse to fail in life. I never fail. Why? Because if I do something and it doesn't come out the way I want it to, I don't consider that failure. I consider that practice. And I'll do it again and again and again, and I have to, and you learn along the way. But I think one of the greatest and fastest ways to succeed is something, and we'll talk about my LEAP Foundation a little bit later, is just copy genius. Copy genius. When I first got to Beverly Hills, after graduating dental school, the last thing they needed was another cosmetic dentist. What'd I do? I found the 5 most successful dentists in Beverly Hills, and I called them up and I asked them if I could shadow them. And I sat there in their office, and I didn't just watch them do dentistry. I watched how they brought a patient in, the intake forms, how they greeted them, how they brought them back, how they seated them in the room, how they did the treatment, how they presented the treatment, how they then brought the patient to the front desk and collected payment, and everything from A to Z. So there are dentists out there that are super successful doing what you guys want to do. My advice is go shadow them, go copy them, and then try and do it better. And by the way, anybody who goes to UOP Dental School is welcome to come and observe in my office after COVID. But we have hundreds of students coming all the time.
Well, that's a wonderfully generous offer, Dr. Dorfman. We appreciate it. We know a lot of students will take you up on that. Staying on this notion of perseverance, though, talk to us a little bit you weren't born with this. How did that develop? And over the course of your lifetime, and when did that develop?
You know, I don't know. We're all wired differently. I don't know what instilled that in me. It's funny. My office manager came up to me the other day. She said, "You know, Dr. Bill, you take care of your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your siblings, you're this, you're that." She goes, "How do you take care of all these people in your life?" And I said, "You know, I never even knew there was an option not to. Like, that never even entered my mind. Like, I just did it, you know? My mom and I have birthdays a few days apart. My mom gave me the sweetest card for my birthday. She said, you know, she said, you were the biggest blessing I ever had. When you were born, you were the easiest kid. You never gave us problems. You never rebelled. I don't know. I was just wired that way. I kind of always just did what I was supposed to do, I guess."
Okay. Well, we appreciate that. So you are the dentist to the stars. What is that like? Describe that for us. And in your interaction with those patients, do you treat them differently than you would other patients?
You know, people have used that phrase, and, you know, it's kind of silly. I mean, look, I'm in Beverly Hills. All the talent agencies are here. All the modeling agencies are here. All of Hollywood is here. So, yeah, we have a lot of celebrities. But to be honest with you, I try to treat everybody like a celebrity. You know, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of pressure when somebody is a Victoria's Secrets model and they make their living based on their appearance. There's a lot of pressure. Like, you've got to get it right. But you know what? There's a lot of people who come into my office that aren't Victoria's Secrets models, and they are, you know, as picky as the models are, the actors are, whatever. So we really try to give gold-plated customer service to every single patient that walks in. But I will tell you, when I'm sitting back in the audience and, you know, Katy Perry flashes a big old grin on the screen, and like, I'm like, all right, that feels good, you know?
We mentioned in the opening about your foundation, the LEAP Foundation. If you could take us back, tell us a little more about why you decided to start that and what you're seeing in terms of the outcomes for these young people that you're helping.
I'm going to make that even a little broader, and I'll tell you something. If you go through this world without leaving it better for having been here, shame on you. Really. You know, I was so fortunate. I had a great teacher in high school. We grew up poor. We didn't really have anything to give, but we gave our time. We went into impoverished areas and we gave back, and we helped. We made Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever. When I saw an opportunity to do the program LEAP, I was invited as a mentor, as a guest in the beginning, and I would come and teach students, not about dentistry, just skills in business and success and whatnot. The founder of that program passed away, and when he did, I thought, you know, this is too important to die with him. So every year we put on a program for students 15 to 25 where we teach them the skills to be successful in life. And if there's two things that I try to really get them to embrace in their head, it's number one, don't wait for opportunities in life, make them. You know, if I meet another young person who comes up to me telling me that they're waiting for the universe to show them something, I'm going to say, have you looked outside lately? The universe is pretty busy, right? And number two, when you do get an opportunity in life, don't take it. Master it. And there's a big difference. When ABC put me on Extreme Makeover, that was one of the first reality shows on TV. I'm not going to lie. I stunk. I was horrible. I watched the first few episodes. I'm like, they should fire me. They could do better. But instead of stinking, I thought, you know what? I'm going to master this. I took acting classes, hosting classes, teleprompting classes. I worked with a woman who trained all the kids on American Idol. And she did mock interviews with me where she would hire a professional interviewer, sit me in a room, and beat me up with questions. And she'd tell me, sit up, look this way. And I learned how to do it. My goal was to be the best version of me that I could be. Why? Because right off the bat, when we started doing Extreme Makeover, I saw a huge impact in sales for Discus Dental. By the way, I invented Zoom. Not video conferencing, Zoom tooth whitening, but it was still a good Zoom. And, you know, our company had grown and grown and grown. And about the time that Extreme Makeover hit, we kind of plateaued at about 76 million in sales, right? The first year I was on that show, we hit 101 million. The second year, 136. And the last year we were on the show, we did almost $200 million in sales. But the thing I'm most proud of is all along, we gave back and gave back and gave back. And in fact, when Pacific called me and said, we'd like to name an auditorium after you, I thought, wow, that's so cool. I didn't realize I'd have to give back in a big way.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. So Dr. Dorfman, when I first came to visit the Dugoni School, my first meeting was in the Dorfman Auditorium with some of our great Dugoni students. And then I had the opportunity to go upstairs and, you know, you treat celebrities and stars all the time. I got to meet somebody who was an absolute star in our world, Art Dugoni. And it was, quite frankly, one of the great privileges of my life, having to spend time with Art and look at and hear from the man himself about this great, great school that he has built. I'm wondering, Dr. Bill, if you could, if you have any reflections on Dr. Dugoni and in terms of your career and the school itself.
You know, you hear these horror stories of people going into dental school and, you know, the dean or somebody from the school gets in front of the class and says, look to your right, look to your left. One of them won't be here on graduation day. And I remember the very first thing I heard Dr. Dugoni say is, I want you to look on your right and look on your left. My goal is that they're both sitting with you on graduation day. And I had the good fortune, I'm about the same age as most of Dr. Dugoni's kids. We became very close. My aunt and uncle lived in Atherton, right down the street from them. So I actually didn't just know Dr. Dugoni through the dental school. I knew his whole family. I loved his wife, Kate. Diana and I were very close, and Jimmy and all of his kids, and Artie, all of them. And I had the real privilege of getting to really know the Dugonis. And he has been such a great inspiration. And I don't have a lot of mentors in my life, but I would definitely put Dr. Art Dugoni at the top of that list.
I appreciate that, Dr. Bill. I will tell you, even though I don't get to see Art very much, I think of him often as I have to make decisions sitting here. And just the thought of what he might do in these situations has been a great guiding light for me. So I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on Dr. Dugoni. Fitness is very important to you. You're clearly in fantastic shape. Talk a little bit, if you could, about your fitness routine and why is that important? And how does that play into your success? Or is it completely separate from the rest of your professional life?
You know, I'm going to tell you something. I've always been an athlete. You know, I've always worked out. I've always exercised. When I started dental school was the first time I stopped really exercising because school was so intense. And I realized rapidly that I was having neck pain and shoulder pain and back pain. So I started going to the gym and I realized the more I worked out, the better I felt. And I actually got back into fitness because of dentistry. Most of my class, I graduated in 1983, is not practicing anymore. And a lot of the reason they're not is because they didn't take care of themselves and they're not in good shape. I always tell dental students, it is critical. Dentistry is a physically demanding profession. And I just did this like It doesn't go this way. It actually goes this way. But I mean, this is me on the cover of a fitness magazine. You know, I don't know any other 62-year-old dentist that could do that, you know? And it's like, I go to the gym every day. Even when I travel, wherever I am, I spend an hour every day. Just, that's kind of my mental meditation. And I think it really helps me be strong and healthy and happy and clears my mind. I don't know. It's just part of my life.
Yeah. Oh, appreciate that. And do you find it even more important in this age of COVID where we're much more restricted in all the things that we can do?
Yeah, I just did a big layout for GQ magazine on home fitness. I mean, I'm the only 62-year-old guy in GQ magazine that they have shirtless.
That's fantastic. Thank you. You know, so Dr. Bill, you're obviously a fantastic dentist. You've been accomplished in so many fields, but also you're clearly an entrepreneur and a very astute business person. Can you talk a little bit about, especially for our young DeGoni students now, why is it important to sort of understand the business world, and how does that intersect with their futures?
You know, look, dentistry is always evolving and changing. I mean, look at Cher. How many retirement tours has she had? Like 20? Every 3 years, she reinvents herself. What I'm doing in dentistry today didn't even exist when I was at DeGoni School of Dentistry. They didn't have porcelain veneers. They didn't have whitening. None of this existed. So, you know, it's really important that throughout your career, you're educating yourself, you're educating yourself, you're educating yourself. You know, I told you what I did with Extreme Makeover. When we started Discus Dental, we literally grew that company from 0 to over $1.3 billion in sales. I didn't know business. I'm sitting in the boardroom. I felt like a complete idiot. So what I do, I went to UCLA and I took extension classes in accounting, in business, in all the things, because I realized that this was going to be an important part of my family's future. I wanted to be a bigger part in it. I was really, really at ease in creating products and in marketing and all that. I kind of learned that, but you know, the actual business, I didn't know what EBITDA was. I didn't understand these graphs. So instead of sitting there and feeling stupid, I took action. I went back to school. You know, when I graduated, cosmetic dentistry, which is what I do almost all day long, didn't really exist in the iteration it's in now. I joined the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. I didn't just become accredited, I'm a fellow there. I took hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of CE courses at the dental school, everywhere I could. You know, so I think instead of just sitting and resting on your laurels, you got to keep pushing yourself. You know, you got to keep pushing yourself and doing better and doing better and doing better.
Good. Dr. Bill, you have a significant social media presence, and obviously it's very intentional, it's very designed, it's very smart, and it's highly effective. Why is that important to you in your business? And is that something that our young DeGoni School students should be thinking about when they get into their practices?
You know, here's the thing. I don't like social media. Like, I wouldn't even do it, except, you know, I get almost 100 new patients a month, not just from social media, from patient referrals. I had a patient come in yesterday from ABC's Extreme Makeover, and that went off the air in 2006. So all these things are going to bring patients into your office, you know, and so you need to kind of be good at all of them, right? And I wouldn't do social media if it was like, there's a lot of people on social media who just want to be famous to be famous. I could care less. That's not my goal. My goal is, if I can put out good material, if I could put out good information, it's going to bring me more patients. And, you know, one of the things we teach at LEAP is copy genius, right? So I follow probably 15 to 20 different dental accounts that I think are really good. I put that all in my social media, and I have a whole team that does my social media. You're going to see, I'm going to post a birthday post today. I send all the content to Antonio. He curates it. He sends it to Dan. Dan makes sure it hits the Explorer page. So everything I'm putting up, I'm getting more views on and more people. And these people, a lot of them come in and, you know, we get new patients from. So, but it's not the thing. The thing is everything.
Good. So I made an error because I thought for today's event, we would have one great celebrity on the call, but I was wrong. We actually have two, because I'm just noticing now that Dr. Degoni has joined us. I don't know if you could see him, Dr. Dorfman, but you might want to say hello to Art.
Hey, Dr. Degoni, how are you?
Art, thank you so much.
And fantastic. And can you hear me all right?
I can hear you and I can see you.
As Dr. Dorfman knows, as Bill knows, as he said, we've had a close relationship for a long time. And I talk about him a lot that he doesn't even know about. And, you know, I tell people how proud I am of him, not only because of his talent and the care he gives and the ability to make people better than they ever thought they could be. And, you know, that's a big part of his makeup and what he accomplishes. And he's motivated and inspired so many young people out there. And then the one thing that touches my heart, of course, he's generous at so many different levels. Forget the dental school. Yes, he's been super generous to the dental school. You know, I ask, he gives. I ask, he's given. And he's done a fabulous thing, and he asks other people to help us. But he reaches out to another 100, I don't know how many thousands, another 10,000 or 5,000 or 8,000 beyond our dental school that he touches lives at UCLA and his foundation. And when the bottom of life comes, you know, I love the saying, you have not lived today until you have done something to someone who can never repay you. And that's what he does. I mean, yes, he's got a successful practice. Yes, he has fantastic patients, but he's done more free dentistry probably than dentistry has been paid for on various and lots of very significant people and who were disasters and they were totally destroyed by dental disease and dental infections. And anyway, Bill, as you know, love you. You're like I have, you know, 5 sons. You're like number 6 son. And thank you for being one of our graduates that you make us proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Art, and it truly is an honor to have you with us today. Let me wrap up with one more question before we open it up to our students. And so, Dr. Bill, you've had these great successes, and you're a dentist and an entrepreneur, celebrity, and author, philanthropist. Which of these very different successes, which makes you the most proud, and which brings you the most intrinsic value?
I mean, you know, and this is something, you know, Dr. Degoni and I really share in common. You know, always our family is first, you know. I mean, my kids, my family is first. Professionally, the thing I'm most proud of is the fact that we've given back so much. We've raised over $44 million for children's charities with Garth Brooks and the Crown Council of Dentists. You know, people don't know this, but when ABC put me on Extreme Makeover, every single person on that show got paid. The hairstylist, the makeup artist, the weight trainers, the plastic, everybody on that show got paid, but the dentist. And I made a deal with ABC and I said, listen, I'll do all the dentistry for free because they didn't have it in their budget. to do the dentistry the way I wanted to do it if I'm the only dentist. And the reason I wanted to be the only dentist is so I could control everything and send these people off to my friends who are dentists to be taken care of afterwards. And as a result, you know, our company exploded, and that wasn't my intention, but it's kind of like every time I gave back, something really great happened. I don't know, call it the universe or something, but it works.
Good karma. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, at this point, I'd like to ask Christopher to open it up to our students and anybody else who wants to ask a question of Dr. Dorfman.
Yeah, thank you so much. So for especially the students, but anyone else, if you go down to the participants tab, click that. There is a raise hand button. We will be able to unmute yourself. So it looks like we have one already. Salaya, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, class of 2023.
Yeah, let me lower my hand. Okay, hi. It's a pleasure to be in the same room with Dr. Degani and all these wonderful alumni. My name is Sila. I'm actually a business student. I'm not even associated with the dental school, but I just had a business question to ask. My question is, do you have any advice for navigating basically the world of business and how to really go about with networking, forming connections, and making sure to stay true to your purpose? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I always go back to this. Find a great mentor. Find somebody who's doing what you want to do and ask if you can shadow them. Ask them if you can bring them to lunch and really sit there and pick their brain. You know, when I came to Beverly Hills, I'm telling you, they didn't need another cosmetic dentist. They just didn't. You know, I found the 5 most successful dentists, and I literally went in and I wrote down everything they were doing from the second the patients arrived until they left. And then I tried to do it better.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Impressions today.
Excellent. So again, if anyone has questions, please raise your hand. All right. I think we had a pre-entered question from James. Is that true? James, do you have a question? Oh, Kurt. Go ahead, Kurt.
Hi, Dr. Bill. This is Kurt.
Hey, Kurt. How are you? Good to see you.
Good. How are
again.
you? So I have a question for you. So given the current COVID-19 situation, what's the best advice you can give to Degoni students and graduates, or possibly students for just graduating next year in June?
I mean, regarding COVID or
I guess like with the situation right now, or even without COVID, I guess, like what's the advice, any advice you could give to Degoni students?
I mean, again, I think the best advice I can always give dental students is find a dentist or 2 or 3 who are practicing in the area where you want to practice, doing the kind of dentistry that you want to do, and go in and shadow them and see what they're doing that works, see what they're doing that doesn't work, and then, you know, create a path for yourself.
And also, how can we schedule to shadow at your dental office? Could you give us your email so the Degoni students can contact you?
I know I have 1 million followers on Instagram, but I honestly answer all of my DMs. I mean, you personally have my phone number and my email, so you're welcome to. We're not taking any students for shadowing during COVID just because it's such an intense thing right now and people don't want extra people in the room, even if you're all masked and gloved and all that. So it's kind of a weird thing, but you know, as my grandmother used to say, this too shall pass. And when it does, you know, I would love to have all you guys come and shadow.
Thank you, Dr. Bill.
All right. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
We're gonna do an Instagram live pretty soon. Okay.
Yeah. Send me a text message and we'll set it up soon.
I will.
All right.
Excellent. So we have actually someone on the phone. Nabia, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, and we will have you participate.
Hi. I just wanted to wish Dr. Bill a happy birthday because I know he didn't mention that yet. So happy birthday, Dr. Bill.
Thank you, Beebs. It's so good to see you. Beebs is one of my elite prodigy students who told me years ago, 10 years ago, she said, Dr. Bill, I want to go to dental school. And here she is at Degoni School of Dentistry. I'm so proud of you, Beebs.
Thanks, Dr. Bill. Have a good day, okay?
Thank you. Love you.
That is awesome, seeing people coming through and wanting to say hi and building those awesome relationships. James, so you have your question now, if you want to try to get on here and ask.
Hi, can you hear me now? I think my connection's a little bad, so just cut out.
We can
Hello?
hear you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask Dr. Bill Dorfman his opinion on social media, the influence it will have in our practices in the 21st century. I know he's kind of active on Instagram, but I wanted to ask if what he thinks about it.
I mean, James, I think it's important, you know, and I've spoken to a lot of dental students and they're like, you know, when should I start? And I mean, while you're in dental school, you know, start. There's no reason not to, you know, start to build your page. But most importantly, look and see what other successful dentists on Instagram are doing, so you get an idea of how to curate content and what kinds of things to post and not. I have a very, very specific program. I only post dental things. I post things about LEAP. I post things about fitness. And then when I travel, I post stuff. And then, of course, today I post a lot of birthday stuff because it's my birthday. But, you know, I think it's important to really focus on, you know, what message you're trying to get across. And it may just be all dentistry. And there are plenty of people that just do dentistry, and that's okay too.
Very awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, wonderful. So Preston Fong, we have if you want to unmute yourself, I have another student question.
Okay, yeah. Hi, Dr. Bill. Nice to see you again. I remember your chat from last year. And happy birthday. I just wanted to ask you a question. Last time you talked about your time in Switzerland and what you did there. I'm just wondering, like, what did you take from that experience, and would you recommend studying abroad for, like, after dental school?
Well, you know, Switzerland was a very special thing for me. First of all, we grew up really, really poor. Like, I didn't get to travel. I didn't get to go anywhere. So when I graduated dental school, the thought of, you know, setting up a practice and being tethered to that and never having the ability to be in a foreign country for 2 or 3 or 4 months until I was older was not really that appealing. And I heard about this program and I thought, you know, this would be awesome. I'll learn to speak another language. You know, when I arrived, I couldn't speak a word of French. Maintenant, je parle français. You know, I'm completely fluent in French. You know, I learned how to ski, you know, but more importantly, it gave me 2 years to really build up my speed and my skills and become a lot more confident as a dentist. Because, you know, when you're in dental school, it takes 4 hours to prep a crown, you know. That's not the real world, you know, but the only way that you can speed up is just by practicing and practicing and practicing. So by going there, I was booked up 3 weeks in advance. The clinic was that busy. So it wasn't like I was sitting around waiting for patients. I actually got to practice and do a lot of dentistry. I did over 100 extractions every month in that clinic. You know, I would never have had that experience. So for me, it was a really great opportunity to grow, to see Europe, to learn a language, to learn to ski, and to practice dentistry and become better at it.
Great. Nice to hear. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Developing lots of skills. So again, if any students have any questions, this is your time to personally ask Dr. Bill Dorfman any questions that you have. Also alumni, if you are here on the call, or anyone in the community, this is your moment to do that. So we'll give you just a second to make sure that you are able to work through the Zoom little bits and make sure that you can do that. And if not, we are going to go ahead and turn it back over to our president and fearless leader, Christopher Callahan. That way you can go ahead and have any further conversation you'd like to have.
Great. Well, thanks, Christopher. I appreciate that. And as I'm looking at the screen, I see my friend Nader here. So I'm wondering if the dean wants to ask Dr. Bill any question that might be helpful for his students.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Dr. Dorfman, thanks for being here, Bill. You're always so generous with your time and talent and coming and speaking to our alums and our students and what you give. So I just want to echo some of Art's comments. We are so incredibly proud of our Degoni School alums, and you're certainly right at the top of that list with everything that you do and give back to the community. You know, maybe a little bit of a question. You mentioned before the school coming and asking you to be involved and support the school, and you've generously put your name on the auditorium on the first floor, our Dorfman auditorium, and you had done the same in our Webster campus. First of all, thank you for your incredible generosity. I have this dream that if every single one of our alums was anywhere near as generous as you are, can you imagine the kind of dental school we would have and the kind of endowments we would have and the kind of support? I mean, we would have the best facilities, the best faculty, the best students, the most diverse class, and it would just be incredible. So thank you for that vision and setting that example. But maybe if you can speak a little bit about what was the impetus? So, you know, there was the connection that you already had, but why'd you decide to give back to the school the way you did?
You know, it started with UCLA. I think, as I said earlier, you know, we grew up really poor. And had I not received an alumni scholarship, I would never have been able to attend UCLA. In fact, my first choice was Stanford. I got accepted to UCLA and to Stanford. Stanford was so expensive, but there were no scholarships there for me. You know, UCLA was my second choice. It ended up being a great choice, but I got an alumni scholarship which paid for school. And, you know, I graduated UCLA, outstanding senior in my class. And in my speech at graduation, I thanked the university for providing me the education. I realized had I not had that education, I could never have gone to dental school. And, you know, dentistry has exceeded every expectation I ever had for a profession. Really, it has. I never in my wildest dreams imagined that I would have a career like I've had in dentistry. And, you know, a lot of that has to do with the fact that Degoni School of Dentistry is literally the best dental school in the world. And I was very appreciative of that. And I realized that I would never have had the success I had without UCLA, without Degoni School of Dentistry. And, you know, when I was asked to give back, we were right in the middle of selling Discus Dental. We sold it to Philips. And so I said, you know, I would make a generous donation contingent on the sale coming through, because if the sale didn't come through, there wasn't going to be any money. But fortunately, it all worked out. And I was really, really proud and honored to be able to help with the Webster campus. And then again, when we moved to the new location.
Great, thank you so much.
Dr. Bill, in listening to you, and you're so inspiring, and you're so optimistic, right? You're very, you know, you're upbeat. You have a very positive outlook on life and your various professions. You know, I'm wondering, do you ever get to a point where you know you feel like, for whatever reason, that you're not feeling that optimistic, and how do you? And if that happens, how do you deal with that? How do you battle challenges as they come up in your life, and how do you constantly maintain this fantastic, positive, optimistic outlook?
You know, it's two things. Number one, I think it's critical to always put things in perspective in life. You know, when something horrible happens, is it really that horrible? You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes we get so consumed with things, and at the end of the day, you sit back and say, you know, that wasn't really that bad. Like, I can deal with it. But the second thing, and especially growing up as a man who was very proud and independent, asking for help. You know, I mean, a lot of us don't ever want to do that, or we look at it as a sign of weakness, and it's not. It's actually a sign of strength. I won't get into the weeds on this, but there was a period in my life when I was going through a very, very, very difficult time. 3 horrible things all happened at once. You know, I had a family member who was dying. My second wife filed for divorce, and the sale of my company went down the drains the first time we went around. I mean, it was any one of those 3 things could really have, you know, ruined your life. And, you know, I came to work and I called an all hands on deck meeting, and I brought all 30 of my employees in to my office right here where I'm sitting. And I said, listen, I am not okay. There is nothing about me right now that's okay. I said, I need your help. I need your help. I need your support. I need you to really help me through this tough period. And when patients come in, they're going to say, Doc, how are you? I'm going to say, fine. Why? I can't tell them the truth and do what I want to do. For me, the healthiest thing for me to do at that point was really put all of my energy into my patients, into fixing them and giving them the care that they needed. And people said, like, why don't you just sit home? Like, what am I going to do? Sit home and cry? No. You know, I put myself in a place where I knew I was helping others, and that made me feel good. And it kind of took my mind off of all this other stuff, you know. But I mean, without the support of my whole team here, I don't even know what I would have done, you know. And so my advice is, when you're going through something that's really tough, you don't need to solve it by yourself. Ask for help, you know. Lean on the people who you love. Lean on the people who are in your life. And don't look at that as a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength.
That is wonderful advice, Dr. Bill, and we appreciate that, and particularly for our students who sometimes feel those pressures, as you remember, of a very intensive program. So that's tremendously helpful, especially coming from you. So we thank you. Let me wrap with a silly question at the end, but I can't resist. Who's your favorite celebrity that you've worked with, and why?
You know, our students won't know her. You will. It was Esther Williams. Esther Williams was MGM's biggest star. For you kids who don't know who she was an Olympic diver who became one of the most beautiful, glamorous MGM stars in the world. In fact, Esther had a swimming pool on the MGM lot because every film she did had swimming and water ballet and all that in it. Plus, Esther's the only movie star who had 2 dressing rooms, wet days and dry days. Because there were days she was in the pool, she couldn't go in the other. But the thing that I loved about Esther came into me. She was my first really big celebrity client. And I treated her all the way through her life until we lost her a few years ago. And she told me some of the most amazing, she lived through an era of Hollywood we'll never, ever, ever see again. That's when they actually created stars, you know? And it was such an honor and a privilege to be privy to her whole life and and just share in her world. And she invited me to all of her parties and her house and her family. And it was just really, really, really special. And near the end of her life, she came in one day with Debbie, and Debbie took care of Esther in the end. And Esther always looked beautifully. You know, Debbie would do her hair and her makeup and everything. And I said, Esther, you look beautiful. She said, well, thanks to Debbie. And she goes, you know, Debbie's on the life plan. I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, she's with me for life. And I looked at her, and Esther winked at me, and she said, Dr. Bill, so are you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Dr. Bill, thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for sharing all of your thoughts, all of your advice. You are generous in so many different ways, and really an inspiration to so many of our Dugoni School alumni and students, and to all of us. We're just so appreciative of you spending your time on your special day, no less.
My birthday.
To come and speak with us. It's just wonderful. Last question. And in one sentence, hard to do in one sentence. In one sentence, this relates, of course, to our Leading with Purpose campaign. In a sentence, Dr. Bill, what is your purpose?
I think it's super easy. Just make the world a better place. Really.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Christopher, I don't know if we have the ability, but if we can unmute everybody, and if we could both give Dr. Bill some well-deserved applause.